From day job to divinely led passion work, I am live with the newest episode of Awful Okay Awesome, our podcast, which, by the way, has hit number 7 in all of podcasts in multiple weeks in a row, thanks to you. So if you're watching and you're loving this, or if you're listening on any of your platforms, please hit the subscribe button, give us a 5-star review because it helps to share this message to more and more people. And that's what we're trying to do here on this show. We are trying to share the message that whatever path God leads you to, he has a purpose. And we may not be able to understand it in the present moment of why the heck God's doing what the heck he's doing, but ultimately we get to turn any trial, any tribulation into our passion and purpose. This episode is brought to you by Black Oswald Coffee, which is the blend that's revolutionizing the way you drink coffee and benefits the mental health industry with every sip you take. You can get your own coffee at blackoswaldcoffeeco.com and use the code AWESOME15 for a special discount. Now, Dina, I know you as the owner of your beautiful gallery, as the owner of multiple publications that help small business owners and community members connect and find the best solution for their lives. But I'd love for you to tell me in your own words who you are and what you do, and then we can lead into your story.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you, Marta. Well,
Thank
I'm
you.
Dina Russo, and I am a franchise owner. I work with a company called the N2 Company, and we create private social newsletters for residents that are part of very affluent communities where they put in pictures of their kids, their pets, neighborhood events, and things like that. And I look for top shelf businesses that want to be connected to affluent communities through the newsletter. So there's a Stroll Treesdale, Fox Chapel, communities here in Pittsburgh, Sewickley, and so on. And it's all about connecting and building awareness in the community and helping a business become trusted in it and then get word of mouth. And it's a really great opportunity for the residents to connect to each other and for the businesses to grow and help support local businesses.
And it's amazing. I can vouch for one of my clients being featured on your publications, and what an opportunity to be featured in really something that your ideal demographics are going to actually read, because guess what? Their own families are featured in it. And I
Yeah.
know that that's something that many local business owners think about is, when I had the marketing agency as my main focus, Marta, how do I get in front of these affluent communities, these
Right.
neighborhoods, these demographics? And the ones that you listed are top shelf here in the area. And I highly vouch for Dina. And if you have never worked with Dina and haven't had your business featured in her magazines, this is your time now to send her a PM or DM. But I digress. We're going to talk about Dina's story because that's what the show is all about, sharing stories that felt like maybe difficult, questionable moments in your life.
Mm.
And you were wondering, what the heck is this? Why is this happening?
Why
And then
is
you
this
realized that it
happening?
was
Yeah.
happening for you, right? So how did that happen for you? Tell me, what was this, the day job, the 9 to 5?
The 9 to 5, yeah, the 9 to 5 job. I was a pre-press manager. So I've been in the print industry my entire career. I started off as a paste up artist at the Penny Saver in a local, Penn Hills here. And then I left there to work at a label company. And I was a graphic designer in the beginning, and we designed labels and manufacture in there. So it was a unique place where you would sell to grocery stores. Then we in the art department would design the label, and then they would go out in the back and print them and ship them out to grocery store. So it was basically the perimeter of the grocery store where the meat departments and chicken, beef. We taught consumers how to cook.
That's fascinating.
Yeah, and
I had no idea that you were also a graphic designer. So do you design your layouts now? I'm getting kind of off topic, but it's just the question that's
well,
getting off the top of my head.
well, I have for many years designed ads for the magazine, but I had to give that up because
I'm
when
so
you
glad you
start
did.
to grow your business, you can't have your hands.
Yes.
You can't wear all the hats.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a
So
part of
what
what I learned.
happened? What
So
happened? Why
I
are you no
worked
longer
my
there?
way up in the company. And I got awards for being there, and was very respected there. And I worked my way up to the pre-press manager, and what you do there is you run the art department. You teach people how to design for print, make sure the labels are appealing, otherwise the product won't get picked up. And then I would go out in the press room and make sure the presses were calibrated. We would make sure that all the colors were printing pretty and matched in, and there were no typos, no legal things that were wrong with the label. So it was a 24/7 print company. So while I was home at night sleeping, the presses were running. My job was to make sure those presses were running even when I wasn't there. So it was a heavy job. It was a very big responsibility. The owner, the second owner, who I came in under, had 7 kids,
Hmm.
and the founder passed away. The second owner took over, and then what happened is um, the children started to come in, which is fine. They built this company from scratch out of a garage.
Yeah.
That's amazing. But when they came in, they had different ideas and different
Mhm.
ways to do things. So unfortunately, I lost my job. That's how I see it anyway. I lost my job, um,
Yeah.
and I was let go after being there for 25 years and thinking
And
I
how
was.
did that feel?
Well, it's hard when you think you're going to retire from somewhere.
Mhm.
You have a title that you're proud of. You have
Mhm.
benefits, a 401(k) plan. You have what you think is a foundation to, your
Mhm.
future, and being respected there. To lose it was shocking. I never
Yeah.
saw it coming. Yeah, I
Can
never
you
saw it
just can
coming.
you describe, like, how that felt for people who might be maybe have gone through the same thing?
It was devastating. I went
Mhm.
home. The funny thing is I knew it was coming. I was putting on my outfit for the day, and I said to my husband, I said, "I think I'm gonna be let go today."
You just had
It
an
was an
intuition, a
energy
gut
shift. It was an
feeling?
energy shift in the
Wow.
building.
Wow.
And I went in, and my husband said, "They'll never let you go."
You've been there for 25
Yeah, you
years.
helped build the
Yeah.
in my mind, I helped build the place, right?
Yeah, of
You
course,
think that
25
you're a part
years.
of the growth and to see it develop,
Yes.
you know, so it was devastating. I came home, and, I was just of course, the fear comes in. What am I gonna do now? We have a mortgage. I'm a
Mhm.
I've been there for so long, who's gonna hire me?
Mhm.
Who's gonna hire a female pre-press manager? There's not a lot of us in the world. All I know is this industry from
Mhm.
being there for so long. But Marta, as devastating as it was,
Mhm.
you know where I'm going with this. It was the best thing that could have ever happened to me.
Yeah. And how long do you feel like it took for you to realize that? What was the process there?
Well, I came home that day, shocked, of course, and scared. Um, how long did it take?
I mean, you don't have to give me, like, an exact time frame, but what was kind of the process
The
that you
process
went
was
through? 'Cause it is a grieving
it
process
was grieving. It
when
was
you're
grieving.
given such a notice, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I took a month off. I called somebody, called a counselor.
Mhm.
Thought I have to do something. I'm not good. I'm a mess.
Mhm.
Called a counselor, and he said, "Do you have enough money to take a month off and just go ride your bike?"
Mm.
Yeah. He's like, "Why don't you just enjoy a month off?"
What a gift.
So I did. I took a month off,
Mhm.
and I worked on myself and the feelings and processed them and worked through them, and I did whatever I wanted for that month. Ate whatever I wanted to.
Yes.
That month was
Yes.
the smartest thing anybody could have told me to do.
Mm.
So after that month, I got my resume together. It was something I hadn't done in 25 years. I had it
I
professionally
hear that,
written.
yeah.
Yeah. And started to put all my gifts on there on the resume, and went on to Indeed
Mm.
and started to look into what was I going to do. I did
Yeah.
have my realtor license. And I thought
Okay.
I could be a realtor. I have my license. I've practiced real estate. I've kept the license up, and I thought, it was something I love to do, but I knew it wasn't where I'm supposed to be. It
Mm.
didn't feel like that was where the road I was supposed to go down.
Mm.
It could have been, um, um, it didn't feel like the right road, so, I chose not to do real estate.
I wanted to tap into that because it's so hard, right? Whenever you're dealt all these cards and you don't know which door to open. Do you have a way that you know which way God is leading you? What comes up for you? This isn't for me. Yeah, I think this could be it. What do you think? What happens for you? Are there feelings? Are there signs? Are there just like, this just didn't feel right because this and this and this?
I think it's the Holy Spirit talks to you, and you have to listen,
Mhm.
and you have to trust. When
I
people say
think that
trust your
month
gut,
off is key to that,
yeah,
don't you think?
yeah, it was taking a
Because
month
you want
off,
to just be him.
thinking about because I had my license, I could have jumped right into it.
Yeah.
When somebody says trust your gut, I think it's really the Holy Spirit telling you what
Yes.
God's path is for you.
Absolutely. Yes. What you
So,
desire, what you're leaning into, that's God. It's
mm,
not human. And you could
mm-mm.
have all of these human things coming at you, all these reasonings, all these logics, and it really comes down to spending that time with God like you did.
Yeah, and there are times in your life when we're all going to go into storms or come out of storms or getting ready to go into the next one. It's when it's a fact of life.
Mhm.
Life is stress, life is pressure, life is losing a job. It's life. And when you're
Mhm.
in these hills and valleys, that's when you have to God loves you the most. God loves you all the time, but that's when you have to recognize God loves you. Even in
Mhm.
those times when you're going through like, why is this happening to me?
Yes.
You
And
have to
I don't
tell
know
it.
about you, but did you have I mean, I've had that moment where I'm just like, "God, why are you doing this?" And I remember one time felt it clearly, "My daughter, don't you know that this is all for you?"
Yeah.
And I get chills even thinking about that
Yeah.
moment. It was such a that was honestly just me having some quiet time with God. And
Hmm.
what was that moment like for you? Did you have that moment with God where you're like, "What the F?"
Oh yeah. Especially when I went to get my first $600 monthly I had to go on what's it called?
I don't
You get
know.
the money from the government when you're like
Okay.
what's that called?
Unemployment.
I had to go get on it. I couldn't even think of it because I didn't want
Yeah.
to at the time. I
Yeah.
had to go get my
Wonder
first
that isn't that so
$600.
funny? Yeah.
It wasn't even enough to cover the mortgage. How am I gonna do this?
Yeah.
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 Yes, why is this happening? Now I see why. You count it
Right.
all joy even when you're in it.
Mhm.
It's hard
Yes.
to do. It's hard to do that.
So what
Um,
happened when you went on Indeed? How'd that go?
so I just it was really time consuming. You have to really put a lot of time into looking for a job. At that time, this has been 10 years since then, but I was like, I just want to take the easy way out. Can I just start hitting things and have my resume go to them and just instead of filling out the form for 3 hours? And so I just started hitting things and I saw
Yeah.
this thing message come up and it said, "Hey, how would you like to own a magazine?" I'm like, who doesn't want to own a magazine?
It's
Absolutely.
pretty baller, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, I want to own a magazine. I've been in the print industry all my life. So I clicked, yeah, and here it went to our competitor. I didn't know at the time I actually applied for, at the time our competitor that I'm with, of who I'm with now, I applied for a different company. I must have hit the button a lot of times. I just kept saying, yeah, I want to be a publisher. And then, things come up in the feed. Um, N2 Publishing reached out to me. I had never heard of them. Like, I don't remember applying for this job. I really don't remember hitting N2 and sending my resume to them. But that's who I'm with now.
Mhm.
And I am so grateful that even though I thought it was the other company calling me, that N2 did. And
Mm.
at the time, this was the first time they had ever been hiring because they had grown so much from people bringing in people. This is the first time they ever actually said we're looking for business people that want to own a magazine.
Mhm.
I had to go through a very rigorous interview process.
Mm.
And um, finally, I got through this 6, 7 stages, and then they said, "Oh, hey, by the way," they emailed me or left me a voicemail. We don't need you anymore. We're
Oh
not
my
hiring for
gosh.
New Jersey." And I thought, and they just said, "So sorry, your last interview's canceled." It was a voicemail, and I thought,
Ah,
you know, I didn't do all this for nothing. And N2 is an amazing company. I did a lot of research on them. They're a Christian-based company, which is what I wanted.
Mhm.
The company that let me go lost had no didn't have the it was a bad culture.
Mm.
I wanted
Mhm.
a good, nurturing Christian
Mhm.
culture.
Mhm.
So I thought to myself, well, wait a minute. No, you're not canceling my interview. There's no way. And I said, I'm not in New Jersey. I'm in Pittsburgh. So I left the guy a voicemail.
Yeah.
Hey, I forget his name. Hey, so and so. There's no way I'm not getting through this.
Yeah.
Um, I want to own a magazine, and I'm in Pittsburgh. So either you call me at our time that we had arranged, or you tell me who can talk to me. I left him a voicemail.
I love that, and I'm gonna keep listeners and viewers hanging for 1 minute. Keep listening because I can't wait to hear what happened next. But I just want to remind you guys about who our sponsor is. It's Black Oswald Coffee Company. And so if you aren't sipping on a cup of coffee right now, I want you to head on over to blackoswaldcoffeeco.com. Use that code awesome15. And we want to hear from you in the comments too. What's your favorite blend of coffee? Because this elixir, if you haven't tried it yet, this should probably become your next favorite one. Okay, I've kept everybody waiting for the moment. I want to know what happened next. What happened? That's like a pretty badass move, Dina. I love it.
Was. Well, he called me back. He's like, Dina, we're not hiring in New Jersey, but we are hiring in Pittsburgh. So sorry that we made that mistake. He's like, but I wish we were hiring in New Jersey because I'd hire you in a heartbeat.
You're like, okay, ready to head the next division in New Jersey too. I'm here for
Yeah.
it.
So they hooked me up with the regional manager for Pittsburgh, and um, and they were hiring for the Murraysville location here. And I had to go through some more interviews. I had to meet some people because they had never hired outside before, and they wanted to make sure they had the right fit because we're going into very affluent communities and we're having events and things like that. So
Mhm,
um, I have been with N2 since 2015. I lost
mhm.
my job in August of 2015. I found them around October of 2015. I launched my first magazine in May of 2016.
Mhm. In almost
And
10 years, you're into 9 years
it's
now.
almost 10 years. Yeah, 9 years. You're right. And since then, I've opened a couple other magazines, sold one. And what I love the most about it is the community connections and giving local businesses the chance to thrive in an affluent community and connecting. It has been amazing, an amazing journey
Yeah, what do you love about it most?
helping people.
Mhm.
I see residents do volunteer work together because they met because of it. It has a life to
Oh,
it
that's so
that
awesome.
goes beyond just, a print publication.
Mhm.
Businesses that are helping residents or supporting each other.
Would you say
It
that
has
it's a
a life to
community
it.
on paper?
Pardon me? Yeah, it
Would you
is. It has
say?
a life to it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
But I'll
beautiful.
share
And
some other things with you.
yeah.
Okay. So while I was at the other company, I always had a side job.
Mhm.
I always had other interests or streams of income, which I think is important.
Yes, very important.
And it was at that company I was an atheist, but at that former company I became a
Mm.
Christian. So there were a lot of good things
Wow.
too. But I learned
Yeah.
a lot about print and how to be a business owner, watching the business grow over years. I became a realtor on the side. I sold jewelry. I became a food stylist, so I was good with photos and camera angles. And I wrote recipes for the labels. And everything that I did during that time before losing my job, I now see that God's path was putting in these things in place for me to be. If I didn't have all of that other interests or jobs or streams of income, he took me out of there, plucked me out of there. I knew it was time to leave, but with a title and 401k and benefits, it's hard to
Yeah.
put me where he wanted me to be. And everything that I've done in the past applies to what I'm doing now. It was like Here's what you're gonna learn so you could do what you're supposed to do.
Yes, it's everything that the path that he had you walk, led you to where you're meant to be. And that's a segment of a prayer that we say every night and before every meal with the kids is, God, just show us the path and we'll walk it and help us walk it. That's what we're here for, right?
Mhm.
And to truly enjoy life. And he just loves it when we enjoy our lives. And you would have never left if you weren't forced out. You would have just continued to not be fully fulfilled and not have the greatest culture. I want to ask you a question right now, something that is top of mind for many families. They're being offered severance packages to voluntarily leave their positions.
Oh,
They're being offered these very nice severance packages. If you voluntarily leave now, you could stay, but if you choose to stay in the future, this package will no longer be on the table. You have until set date to decide. And
hmm.
these people who have these nice salaries are providing for their families, and some have other callings already. Some love their jobs and they're like, what do you mean? Like, what else am I supposed to do? What advice would you give them
Wow.
whenever they're trying to make a decision? And I'm not saying either or in terms of, what do you utilize to make your decisions to ensure that they're in alignment with God's purpose for you?
That's a really good question. I think, I always knew I wanted to be my own business owner. I
Mhm.
just didn't know how to do it on my own. So now
Mhm.
I think if you're offered something like that, obviously you have to pray together as a family, and
Mhm.
you'll feel. I think you have to close your eyes and imagine what it would be still being where you're at, and imagine what it would be doing what your passion is and what you would always love to do. I always knew I wanted to be a business owner. I
Mhm.
just didn't know how to do it on my own, or was afraid.
And
But
that
fear
knowing was probably divinely led too.
was divinely led. But fear holds a lot of people back.
Yeah.
So if you have something you've always wanted to do, I didn't know this was going on. If I was trying to think, would I have taken that package if it was offered to me at that time? Um, fear holds people back.
Mhm.
Don't be afraid, because when you think
Mhm.
about it, you've always been provided for by God. And
Mhm.
God will provide for you no matter what. And
Yes.
so if you can, you can't have fear, even though it's hard. You have to have trust and you have to surrender to God. So if it's something you've always wanted to do and you haven't been able to, I say do it.
Mhm.
People that
Yes.
if you don't try, how will you never know? People are afraid of failing. You have to fail. I failed in this many times.
Yes.
I've had
Oh
to
my
find
gosh. I failed epically in the past couple years, more epically than I ever imagined. And you know what happens when you fail so epically? It releases a part of you that you no longer have to carry, because the worst case scenario happened and you're like, oh, God still had me. I was so afraid of
yeah,
this happening and God still had me. I'm okay. Things might not look the way that I thought they would look right now. But you get through it, and
get through it.
with God by your side. And you have to also, like you said, Dina, be focused on what his vision is, because the human vision and human perception is so different than the divine truth. And I think when you're going to make that decision, and this is something that I had a conversation with someone yesterday, um, I knew that he was sharing this with many people and getting a lot of feedback. I knew that he had his finger on the pulse of the media and the news and what's going on in the industries. And I know that he has a lot of responsibility on his shoulders. And I reminded him, I said, just make sure these are all human constructs, if I'm even using the right terminology here. These are all human things. Make sure you take some time to just be with him tonight and just turn everything off. And I know it's hard with a family and with everything you've got going on, and even if you can't sit still and do it because your mind will wander, I feel like
Mhm,
when your mind wanders, that's like where it's meant to wander, to help you with that decision. Pay attention to your dreams too. I mean, think
mhm,
about the many portions of the Bible where people were divinely guided by their dreams. And go for a walk by yourself, leave the phone in, at home or in the car. That's really where that divine truth comes. And as you're having conversations, have those conversations with high vibe thinkers that aren't
Right.
led by fear, and ensure that your decision is led with love for you and your family and not by fear. Fear of failure is a fear, and the devil often uses that to keep you down and to
Mhm.
keep you from growing and expanding. But like you said, Dina, I would say that failure from a divine perspective has been the best thing that's ever happened to me, and has just released, just, I don't even know how to describe it. It's the most beautiful thing to fail. I mean, some people might not look at it that way. Some people might be listening to this and going, what the F are you talking about? But you're really, when the worst case scenario happens, you're really, it's freedom, honestly. What do you think about that, Dina?
I agree, 100% agree, yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, you learn from it though, because as we've heard in the
Mhm.
past, you have
For
to learn
sure.
from your mistakes and grow from them and don't stay stuck. A lot of people say stay stuck or just give up after, after something goes wrong.
They stay in it.
Break that wall down and go
Mhm.
around it, go through it, because there's gonna
Right.
be another one after it. So you just have to keep going forward and trust it. That
Yeah. And allow those feelings to exist of, feelings of fear and shame and guilt are going to come up. Allow them to exist. Give
Mhm.
them space. Say, thanks, brain, for, putting that out there, trying to protect me. I'm going to be okay. Here's the divine truth. And then shift into problem solving. And
Right.
how is this happening for me? One question that I hear from many coaches, and I'm not sure if I understand it, but maybe you have some feedback on it. The question is, why does everything always work out for me? So you're like shifting that mindset in your mind
Yeah.
of, rather than saying, why is this happening to me? But rather than, why is everything always working out for me? Why is everything always so perfectly aligned for me? And my understanding of that is, you're just teaching your brain to think positively and to have that positive affirmation and rewiring to believe everything's always happening, is conspired by your guides, your angels, God, to work out for you. What do you think about that, Dina?
Well, I can't it's funny you said that, I keep this on my desk.
What does it say?
Positive mental attitude.
Okay.
But
I
I
love
think
that.
instead of saying, "Why does everything work out for me?" I would just say, "Everything works out for me."
Yes. Yes. Yeah. And in every little thing in life, we're planning a trip to Italy with my sisters. My cousin's getting married, and I have this opportunity to go to Italy, full expenses paid for me, because I'll be pulling out the old camera, just for my
Right.
cousins, just for VIPs, for a beautiful wedding on the beach of Tuscany, in Livorno. And there's some things that come up in the group chat that are like, oh, well, let's pick this, it's less expensive. And I'm like, or let's just trust that the perfect place is going to arrive at the perfect price, and we're not going to jump on it. Or there's some messages from people saying, oh, I think I'll just wear this so I don't have to buy a new dress. I just started a new business and I just want to be mindful. And I say, or trust that the most beautiful dress at the most beautiful price and your business is going
Yeah.
to expand, and you'll be able to feel your best self. Don't settle for less. Don't settle for less. That's my biggest message to all of you. Don't settle for less. There's such a thing as human circumstances, and they are always temporary, whether they're good or whether they're bad. So just keep walking God's divine path. Those are my last words. Any last words for you, Dina? And how can they reach out to you?
Oh, they can email me. Um, I'll give them my personal, email. It's
Okay. Are you comfortable with that?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
What is it?
it's my art gallery, Dina Russo Art at
Okay.
gmail.com. Dina Russo,
Dina Russo Art at
Dina Russo
gmail.com.
Art
We're going
at
to add
gmail.
that into the show notes at gmail.com.
Mhm.
And I'll give you guys my own little plug. We talked about leaving positions here, leaving jobs. I am a licensed financial rep. When you leave your job, don't leave your 401k behind, and don't roll it over into a new job either. Take it with you. And especially when it comes to your income level, your tax brackets, there are better ways for your money to grow that will exponentially help your family and make a huge difference. Take a minute to talk to someone like me or your already existing trusted financial rep before you take any next steps. And did you know that many of your life insurance policies with your employer When you leave, you have to completely start over and shop for a new policy again. So you might have a really economically priced insurance policy with your employer, but the fine print says that when you separate from that employer, you have to shop and qualify as an individual for your life insurance policy. And that could be 10, 20 years later. And every year makes a difference when it comes to your monthly premium to your life insurance. So talk to me and make sure that you have enough life insurance and that you have a backup plan if and when that happens. I am not into fear mongering. I think God will provide for you no matter what, right, Dina?
Yes.
But God also connects you with the right people to make the best
Mhm.
decisions possible and allow your life to flow as best as you can. And guys, as a reminder, this show is sponsored by Black Oswald Coffee Co. I absolutely love the founder of this company. He is such a great guy, and he himself started this through darkness. And I like to say, through darkness, he made coffee. And every ounce, every sip goes towards benefiting the mental health industry. And in fact, if you are in the mental health industry and you have a cause that you'd like to raise funds for, please reach out to oswaldcoffeeco.com. They will make a special blend that is branded to your cause and partner with you as a fundraiser. And these are all online sales. You could do this anywhere in the US, and I highly recommend it. And I kid you not, guys, I keep these by my desk because they smell so good every time I sit down at my desk. It's like having a coffee scented candle. And then I brew my coffee for the show, and I get to sip on it and enjoy it. I don't recommend anything that I don't truly believe in.
I
So
wanna grab
that's
it
why
through
Dina's here too.
I wanna grab it through the screen and
Yeah. Well, we'll just have to have coffee together,
I
right?
love that.
Again, yeah. Come and sit and we'll take a look at my chickens and the geese and we'll just sip on coffee
That'd be
together.
great. Thank you.
Yes. Well, thanks everyone for being here. Remember to subscribe to our show wherever you're listening or watching. If you're watching on a platform that you can leave a comment, leave a comment. Tell Dina that you love her, that she's amazing because I think that she is, and cheer her on because it's not easy for everyone to get on the show and just speak their heart out live. And leave us a 5-star review and subscribe on any other platform that you might be watching. Bye, everyone. Until next
Bye.
time.
Thank you.